Please welcome Brian Spitulnik.
I just want to preface this by saying basically my column on McSweeney's was a series of personal essays, and they're all true, and this is true, but it takes place quite a few years ago, 2008, so this is not me anymore, so take that as you will. A bandit, full and hollow. It's been 2 months since James dumped me. I've been dancing at the Broadway Company of Chicago for over a year and a half. The time is now nearly 10:20 p.m. Our two-show day is finally coming to an end, and tonight, at Chicago the Musical, it's Saturday night on Broadway. We're moving to our places for the finale. The girls descend from their dressing rooms, having already removed their fake eyelashes. The boys surface from where we've been reading the New York Post and Us Weekly in the theater's basement, chatting about whom we are seeing after tonight's show and where we are seeing them. As the actresses playing Roxy and Velma deliver their last lines, the ensemble clambers onto the stage, hidden from the audience by a curtain of gold tinsel. As the gold curtain rises, the orchestra begins to play the reprise of All That Jazz. I lift myself into a pose that I hope passes for Fosse-esque. Shoulders hunched forward, feet turned in, elbows bent, wrists attached to my hip bones. I suck at my stomach, pulling it back, away from my black mesh costume, and become aware of the sensation that my navel is nearly meeting my spine. Though we have been directed to slither and ooze off the bandstand with the same energy, the same intensity we displayed during the opening number, I find I can't quite muster it tonight. The surge of energy I got from taking 3 hydroxycut diet pills at the top of the show has long since worn off. And because every moment of my everyday has become about getting my body snatched in order to win back the boyfriend who dumped me, I haven't eaten anything today aside from a banana and 5 almonds. I slink downstage toward the audience with the rest of the cast, all of us dancing in unison now, thrusting our hips back, 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 arms in the air, swatting our hands as if flicking wet toilet paper from our fingers. At least, that's what the choreographer has told us it should feel like. But at this moment, it feels like slamming my limbs into concrete again and again. I know what comes next in the choreography. I know that we spin out and then spin back in. But which way is out? Where are my feet? Where is the audience? Where is the orchestra? Everything seems to dim and blur. I begin to wonder if I've finally, sufficiently, starved myself to death. But if I'm dying, I think, at least I'm dying on Broadway. After the cast has bowed and we have climbed the 6 flights of stairs to our dressing room, I try to convince the boys in the ensemble to come out for a drink at Therapy, a fussy midtown gay bar we all love to hate. Will the bandits strike again? One guy asked me. Since James and I broke up in November, the Chicago boys have not so jokingly nicknamed me the Makeout Bandit of 9th Avenue. I've fallen into the habit of getting drunk, sloppily kissing strangers at bars and clubs, then disappearing into the crowd before my victims have a chance to ask for my name or my phone number. Or worse, not ask for my name or for my phone number. Most days, I've been waking up with debilitating hangovers in the sense that I spent the previous night acting like a 7th grade girl with low self-esteem who thinks boys will only like her if she sticks her tongue down their throats. I don't feel great about the way I've been acting, but it all feels pretty harmless. Harmless, that is, until I realize I've been trying to get these strangers I'm making out with to actually like me. I'm thinking of applying to grad schools. I find myself yelling over thumping music at a bar. I'm in search of a true spiritual community, I slur, while someone soaks my chin with his tongue. Have you read The Power of Now? I'm sure that when tomorrow morning comes, I'll be less than thrilled with my decision to go to therapy tonight. But I lock myself in the dressing room bathroom, take 2 more hydroxycut pills, just for energy, like having a late night cup of coffee, and we walk out the stage door onto 49th Street. I send a text message to Sam, a guy with whom I've been on exactly 1 very PG date. I tell Sam to come meet me at therapy. He replies that he will. The boys and I head west, away from Broadway, toward the nightlife of Hell's Kitchen. When we arrive at therapy, we commandeer a table on the 2nd level of the bar and start in on our first round of vodka sodas. We pretend to make conversation with one another, but really we're just scouting the room, looking for people we might know or might want to know. Sam soon arrives at the bar, and I decide that yes, without a doubt, tonight is the night I finally get over James. Sam is a Broadway dancer from Colorado or Montana or something. He has never had to wear deodorant, no matter how much he sweats. He can fix a wobbly chair with one smooth, efficient twist of his hands, and he has these naturally broad, hairless forearms, inherited, presumably, from generations of fresh-smelling, chair-fixing farmers and cowboys. Although I haven't slept with anyone since my breakup, it has been the opinion of my coworkers that the only way to get over James is to be a man, do what men do, and have sex with as many people as possible. Diva, you've got to move on has been an oft-repeated refrain on the 6th floor of the Ambassador Theater since November. The problem, and I haven't admitted this to my castmates, is that I have never had sex with anyone I was not in a long-term relationship with. And there are a number of things now holding me back. I'm scared of disease. I am scared that my stalwart, comforting belief that I am fantastic in bed could be proven false. I'm scared I'll fall in love with the first person I have sex with and wind up in a new relationship before I patch myself together from my last breakup. And I'm scared that if I don't fall in love with the first person I have sex with, sex will forever be ruined for me, robbed of the significance it has always carried. But enumerating these fears in my head as I suck down yet another vodka soda and look at Sam's pouty lower lip and broad, hairless forearms, I try to reason with myself. I'm 26 years old and far past the age when it's considered either charming or appropriate to be operating under these kinds of delusions. I do still want to believe that sex is something special and intimate, I do. But I also really, really need to get laid. Sam smiles his closed-lipped smile and slides into the booth next to me. I can't stay, he yells into my ear over the blaring music. Early audition tomorrow. He might as well punch me in the stomach. The hand holding my vodka soda begins to shake at the thought of going to sleep alone in my bed, yearning for James for yet another night. Though, the shaking might just be the result of the hydroxycut mixing with the vodka. Still, as Sam leans in to kiss me goodbye, I notice that even after performing in 2 shows today, he smells like clean laundry. He really doesn't need deodorant. If he asked me to marry him this second, I would say yes. Once Sam has left therapy, I fix my eyes on a guy who is standing next to our table, grooving to the music, wearing a pinstripe newsboy hat ever so slightly askew on his head. I lean over to a friend sitting next to me and whisper, "He's hot, right?" "Hot," my friend replies, "Go for it." I stand from the table and, as quietly as I can over the music, yell to the guy in the newsboy hat, "Come downstairs with me." He follows me as I push my way through the dense, coconut-scented fog. We zigzag through the wall of guys standing nuts to butts, all trying to get the attention of the bartender and of each other. When I reach the bathroom entrance, I lean back against the door, hoping to look both seductive and to remain upright without teetering. I pull the guy in the newsboy hat toward me and learn that he is an exemplary kisser, that his name is Caleb, and that he lives 2 blocks from my apartment in Astoria, and that he thinks I should really go home with him tonight. But all that swagger and aggression I displayed in getting Caleb to come downstairs with me seems to evaporate the moment he speaks the words, "my place." I tell him I really can't desert my friends, but maybe we can meet for coffee later in the week? He starts to run his hands down my torso as I notice he's got these incredibly broad, hairless forearms. "Come on," he says. "I've got baked ziti with homemade meat sauce in my fridge." I can't remember the last time I ate pasta. Actually, I can't remember the last time I ate anything at all. And meat sauce. At this moment, homemade meat sauce has the ring of something primal and dangerous, a call from the wild, inviting me, daring me to go native. After a quick cab ride to Caleb's apartment in Queens, we are standing together, still making out in his bedroom. Aside from a bed, some pillows on the floor, and the TV he immediately switches on, there isn't much to the room, unless you count the heavy chemical scent of Axe body spray as a physical presence, which I do. Caleb asks if I want a drink. I say yes, though the phrase homemade meat sauce is pounding in my ears, muffling out everything else. He brings me a pink mixture in a clear Budweiser glass and lightly, pressing one hand to my sternum, pushes me backwards onto his bed. As I try not to spill the drink on his duvet, Caleb climbs on top of me, and I wonder why he seems so much less attractive now that he's on top of me. I close my eyes to block out the sight of his eyes and his nose, which are nightmarishly distorted at such close proximity. While closing my eyes makes the room lurch and heave, I snap my eyes back open and try to remember what it is I had planned on doing once I got myself beneath this person I don't know. Big ZD! I say, trying to sit up and realizing how very much bigger he is than I am. You got me all excited for Big ZD. I'll get to ZD in a minute, Caleb murmurs, pushing me back down onto the bed and inching my shirt up over my torso. I grab his face, look him in the eye, and I say, "You promised me homemade meat sauce." My desperation seems to startle and crack his determination, at least for a moment. He pushes himself up off of me and heads for the kitchen. I sit up on the bed and plant my feet on the floor, a trick I learned in college that's supposed to make the room stop spinning. Caleb plods back into the bedroom, carrying an oversized, disposable aluminum roasting pan and a fork. "Baked ZD with homemade meat sauce," he says, a note of resignation and annoyance in his voice. He sets the pan on my lap. I dig the fork into the dish and shove 5 or 6 noodles, globs of melted cheese, and large chunks of beef and tomato into my mouth. I close my eyes, the room not spinning at all now. I chew and swallow. "This is good," I keep repeating, shoving forkful after forkful into my mouth. "This is really, really good." Caleb smiles, says he's glad I like it, and attempts to get me to set the fork aside by kissing my ZD-filled mouth. I indicate with an apologetic shrug that I'm not done eating, so I can't possibly kiss him back. I dig my fork back into the dish and keep inhaling the pasta. When I finish the entire pan of ZD, which had been more than 3/4 full when I began, Caleb levels his gaze at the empty aluminum dish and asks warily if I want some of the cookies his mom sent him at Christmas. I nod and grin. He brings out a tinfoil-covered serving tray and reveals dozens of shortbreads, sugar cookies, ginger snaps, and frosted chocolate cakes. I consider at least attempting conversation at this point, perhaps about Obama's upcoming inauguration, perhaps about the show he's performing in. But I forego dialogue in favor of focusing my full concentration on the cookies in front of me. "Feel better?" Caleb says, once I've put down the cookies, leaving 2 or 3 on the plate with a tremendous force of will. He again begins to push me down onto the bed and lift off my shirt. "Yeah, but you know what? I really should be going," I say. "Are you serious?" he says, his eyes wide, his eyebrows disappearing beneath his newsboy cap. "Yeah, I'm sorry," I say, suddenly both strong enough and clear-headed enough to pry him off of me and sit up straight. I look around the room for my shoes, which I don't remember taking off, and start saying something about going through a really tough breakup recently and just needing some me time. I tell him I'll find him on Facebook, I say goodbye, and I hurry out his door into the cold January night. As I walk the 2 blocks from Caleb's apartment to my own, I'm aware of a sharp embarrassment. An embarrassment that feels remarkably similar to gallons of pasta and a plate full of cookies stretching my stomach to a painful distension. And a stinging guilt that demands I consider how I'll undo what I've just done. Thinking about the meals I'll have to skip tomorrow and the hours I'll spend at the gym, I hardly notice that while passing darkened homes and late-night bodegas of Astoria, I am, for the first time in my life, completely alone. Thank you.